The war in Ukraine has now been underway for more than 200 days, but the last week is widely being described as a possible turning point in the crisis. The Ukrainian government says Russian forces have suffered substantial losses, with Kyiv claiming it has retaken control of thousands of square kilometers of territory previously seized by the Russians. The Kremlin insists its military is merely regrouping in Ukraine. Much of the focus is on the northern region of Kharkiv, an area where the Russians made substantial gains in the early days of the invasion. But now a Ukrainian counter-offensive has succeeded in liberating towns and villages in the occupied territory. Since the beginning of this month, Kyiv claims to have recaptured 8,000 square kilometers. That figure cannot be independently verified. But officials say that in about half of that recaptured terrain, stabilization measures are now underway.
As of now, stabilization measures are completed in an area of 4,000 square kilometers. In a liberated area of about the same size, where stabilization measures are still going on, remnants of occupation forces and saboteur groups are being uncovered, collaborators are being arrested, full security is re-established.
The Russians are officially denying that what the Kremlin will still only call a special military operation has been dealt a substantial setback. The Russian Defense Ministry in a statement said air, rocket and artillery forces are carrying out massive strikes on Ukrainian armed forces, and high-precision strikes have been launched in the eastern Donetsk region. The news agency Reuters reports that President Vladimir Putin's chief envoy, Dmitry Kozak, has hammered out a peace deal that didn't include the need for Russia to maintain a large occupation force in the country, but that President Putin rejected the proposal in a phone In a phone conversation on Tuesday, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz urged Putin to find a diplomatic solution out of the crisis. Acknowledging the Ukrainian victories as significant progress, US President Joe Biden is not yet in a mood to rejoice, aware that Ukraine still faces a battle to retain control of the territory it's liberated.
The question is unanswerable. It's hard to tell. It's clear the Ukrainians have made significant progress, but I think it's going to be a long haul.
Washington is planning another weapons shipment to Kyiv soon. US National Security Council spokesman John Kirby says another multi-billion-dollar offering is in the works. It comes on the heels of President Zelensky's repeated calls for more Western arms. For more on all of this, we're joined today by Ksenia Kondratyova, a journalist currently in St. Petersburg who has recently returned from the Donbass region. Ksenia Kondratyova, thanks very much indeed for being with us today. Let me ask you first of all about what you witnessed in the Donbass region. Are you seeing any indication that the Russians are still creating the substantial problems for Ukrainian forces that they contend? And how do you assess Ukraine's claims that it has recaptured substantial pieces of territory in and around Kharkiv?
Yeah, thanks very much for having me. So first clarification, I've returned from Russian-controlled part of Donbass. Donbass is a huge region with both Ukraine and Russia and pro-Russian forces controlling some parts of it. So I've been only to Russia-controlled territories, Donetsk. I've been to other parts of Ukraine like Mariupol and earlier in Kherson region. Yeah, Ukraine has captured definitely large territories very fast. I would doubt both sides' claims on the large casualties. Obviously, there are casualties, but you know how it is. You know how the fog of war works. I would say what is important is that Ukraine had time to prepare. It's very well equipped. The offensive at all the flanks, because it's not only happening in Kharkiv region, it's happening in the south, it's happening in the Donetsk area around Donetsk as well. and pro-Russian forces are withholding those attempts so far. But yes, in the Kharkiv region, it was successful. Significant territories were captured. Russians didn't have enough supply there. They're clearly stating that, I mean, not the official military comments, but people who are fighting, the news, the reports that we are getting from the front and the commenters, they all are saying that Russia just didn't have the substantial forces and enough supplies to hold on to those positions. And that's a very unfortunate military strategic defeat for Russia. But it can be called a turning point. But again, we have to see, the situation on the ground can change within days. So we have to see what's going on next, what's happening next.
And Ksenia Kondratyeva, I want to ask you in a moment about the impact of all of this on Vladimir Putin. But first of all, tell us about your claim that you are on Ukraine's hit list as a result of presumably your visit to the Donbass region.
Yes, that happened in May. My first visit to Donbass was in May. I visited, unlike last time when I went on my own, first time I went with a group of foreign journalists because I've lived for the last 10 years in India and I've been reporting for Indian publications. So I went as a journalist representing an Indian publication. I went with a group of foreign journalists, around 30 people. So we all are on the, there is a what we call a kill list, a hit list, mirotvorets in Ukraine. So we all appeared on that list on the moment we crossed the border. We came to know it from our relatives who sent us the links. So we appeared there not as a result of our work because, for example, my report came out maybe 2-3 weeks later after the trip. So basically, it was just for even going to the area and reporting, but not based on what kind of reports we published. I'm sure nobody read those reports. So I don't know how it's difficult for me to
of where you think. Yeah, give us a sense of where you think Vladimir Putin now finds himself. We saw the Communist Party yesterday essentially calling for a national mobilization, but you've seen some members, some political figures in Russia now signing a petition for Vladimir Putin, calling for Vladimir Putin's resignation. He's kind of under fire now from both sides over the events of the last few days and the loss of that territory.
Of course, the Russian leadership would be under fire from all sides because, again, as I said, it's a strategic defeat. In this moment, we don't know what's the command's, what the leadership plan is because, again, we are a country at war, whether we call it a special operation or whatever, we are the country at war. So obviously we are not privy to the Kremlin's plan, what they would do next. Maybe it's all a part of a strategic plan. But I think Russian leadership is quite safe in its position, whatever calls you may hear from there and from there. I think a population at large doesn't really have an understanding what's going on because the special operation has been going on for nearly 7 months now. And I wouldn't say that every second person or every fifth person in Russia is following the news, So I would say that Vladimir Putin's the support that he enjoys would just stay there, and those who otherwise oppose his policies or his actions in Ukraine, they have been criticizing him without much success. So I don't think anything is changing much. But yes, Russian leadership is definitely at the crossroads and has to take very strategically important decisions. It's a challenging situation for the Russian leadership in all possible senses.
Ksenia Kondratyeva talking to us live today from St. Petersburg in Russia. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. I hope you'll be back on the programme again soon.
Thank you so much.